In case you haven't read this on some other blogs on the internet or elsewhere, here's a little piece by Bill Maher. He does that show on HBO. Well, I don't have HBO, and so I don't follow what he says. And when I did have it long time ago, I didn't always agree with his standpoints. But that's neither here nor there for this particular essay. So I think I'm just going to read it in its entirety, and I will probably take this video down, even though it is for educational purposes and for a non-profit motive entirely. How about this for a new rule? Not everything in America has to make a profit. It used to be that there were some services and institutions so vital to our nation that they were exempt from market pressures. Some things we just didn't do for money. The United States always defined capitalism, but it didn't define us. But now it's becoming all that we are. Did you know, for example, that there was a time when being called a war profiteer was a bad thing? But now our war zones are dominated by private contractors and mercenaries who work for corporations. There are more private contractors in Iraq and Afghanistan than American troops, and we pay them generous salaries to do their jobs for a profit. War is not supposed to turn a profit, but our wars have become boondoggles for weapons manufacturers and connected civilian contractors. Prisons used to be non-profit too, but for good reason. Who in the hell wants to own a prison? By definition, you're going to have trouble with the tenants. But now prisons are a big business. A company called Corrections Corporation of America is on the New York Stock Exchange, which is convenient since that's where all the real crime is happening anyway. The CEA and similar corporations actually lobby Congress for stiffer sentencing laws so that they can lock more people up and make more money. That's why America has the world's largest prison population, because actually rehabilitating people would have a negative impact on the bottom line. Television news is another area that used to be roped off from profit motives. When Cronkite died last week, it was odd to see news anchor after news anchor talking about how much better the news coverage was back in Cronkite's day. I thought, gee, if only you were in the position to do something about it. But maybe they aren't. Because unlike in Cronkite's day, today's news has to make a profit like all the other divisions in media conglomerates. That's why it wasn't surprising to see CBS evening news broadcast live from Staples Center for 2 nights this month, just in case Michael Jackson came back to life and sold Iran nuclear weapons. In Uncle Walter's time, the news division was a loss leader. Making money was the job of the Beverly Hillbillies. And now that we have reporters moving to Alaska to hang out with Palin, the news is the Beverly Hillbillies. And finally, there's healthcare. It wasn't that long ago that when a kid broke his leg playing stickball, his parents took him to the local Catholic hospital. The nun put a thermometer in his mouth, the doctor slapped some plaster on his ankle, and you were done. The bill was $1.50, and you got to keep the thermometer. But like everything else that's good and noble in life, some Wall Street wizard decided that hospitals could go big business. So now they're run by the same bean counters in a corporate plaza in some town in Charlotte, North Carolina. In the US today, 3 giant for-profit conglomerates own 600 hospitals and more, and other healthcare facilities. They're not hospitals anymore, they're Jiffy Lubes with bedpans. America's largest hospital chain, HCA, was founded by the family of Bill Frist, who perfectly represents Republican attitude towards healthcare. It's not a right, it's a racket. Because medicine is now for profit, we have things like rescission, where insurance companies hire people to figure out ways to deny your coverage when you're sick, even though you've been paying into that plan for years. When did the profit motive become the only reason to do anything? When did that become the new patriotism? Ask not what you could do for your country, ask what's in it for Blue Cross Blue Shield. If conservatives get to call universal healthcare socialized medicine, I get to call private healthcare soulless vampires making money off human pain. The problem with President Obama's healthcare plan isn't socialism, it's capitalism. And if medicine is for profit, and war, and the news, and the penal system, my question is this: what's wrong with firemen? Why don't they charge? They must be commies. Oh my God, that explains the red trucks. This is copyright by the Huffington Post, and the article is by Bill Maher, and I'm distributing it for non-profit purposes. Thanks for listening.